The questions grow about how professional spies could have been so taken in, failing to spot a double agent and letting a suicide bomber into their midst. The CIA's Afghan outpost at Forward Operating Base Chapman is in the middle of enemy territory, not far from the Pakistan border, and the nerve center in the hunt for Osama bin Laden. Security here is supposed to be tight, but Nick Schifrin of ABC News reports the bomber was actually escorted around the checkpoints.
He'd already been to the base about half a dozen times, and because of the information he claimed he had, the CIA officers told the local guards not to search him as he went past 3 layers of security.
The CIA thought its informant was bringing information about the location of al-Qaeda number 2, Ayman al-Zawahiri. Some 13 CIA officers and contractors from the company formerly known as Blackwater had gathered to hear the informant's report when the bomb went off.
It's sort of a grim calculation, but normally when you meet an asset like this, you have 1, maybe 2 people. So I think people are going to point out inside the agency that they shouldn't have had 13 people.
The double agent was a 32-year-old doctor from the town of Zarqa in Jordan. And among those killed was a Jordanian intelligence officer, a cousin of the king, who had been the liaison between the Jordanian informant and the CIA.
They're outsourcing intelligence. They're having to go to the Jordanians to ask the Jordanians for help for getting into al-Qaeda, because we simply cannot, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Americans cannot get out into these camps.
The double agent doctor played his role to the hilt, telling the CIA he needed to attack the U.S. on al-Qaeda websites so he could establish his credibility with other terrorists.
He demanded violence against the United States in the most brutal way. He was rabidly pro-al-Qaeda.
And now it turns out that was no act, and the implications are huge for U.S. efforts against al-Qaeda in the region. Every single unsuccessful airstrike, every single fact he provided, every other informant working for the U.S. in the area will now have to be closely re-examined. It's nothing short of a major catastrophe for U.S. intelligence, Diane, at a time when their best efforts are needed.